I've put them somewhere, but I've misplaced it. Is it in my bathroom? Hello. Greetings. Everybody, out. Everybody, get in here. Where is my other? Oh, is it there? Yo! Strange. Indeed. What should we have him? Ha 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 ha. La 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 la. Okay. I've lost it, apparently. It's not in my ear, right? Hey, nothing there. Strange. I've lost my second earbud. Oh well, that's alright. How art thou, my friend? How are you? Baka, bak, 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 bak. Bak, 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 bak. Bak, 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 bak. Oh, hello. Now I can hear myself and all its vivacity. Been able to stay pretty focused. Sick, man. Fucking sick. 3 times the whole thing. What a lad. Bro. What a broski. Why does it do that? I will remove these even though they look fantastic. They make noise and I don't need noise. Don't want noise. Feeling pretty sick. Frick. That sucks. What have you come down with? Is it a regular sickness? Just getting down with the sickness. Give up, down with the sickness. I don't know why. What's doing with that? Give up, down with the sickness. Give up, down with the sickness. I'm doing a-okay. My back really hurts because I didn't warm up properly at the gym, so I'm aching now. My lower back is in pain, but I live. You know, I've dealt with worse, and I've taken a painkiller after a few hours of just resting. I did some squats. And I think I stretched my muscle. Condition. Frick. That sucks. Let's see. Anastasia. How's that? It's not the greatest. I'll have to warm up some more. For some reason I've thought that I'm like fucking ancient. And for some reason I thought I could just go into the gym. With the only warm up being from the walk to the gym. Alas, I am not young anymore, so it is what it is. I suffer, and I've made this mistake before. Funny thing is, too, I spoke to a friend about it, like just, I don't even know, like a day ago or something. And he mentioned how he had probably stretched his, or tore his pectoral, his chest muscle, because he hadn't warmed up properly. And here I am doing the same fucking thing, but except it's my back. It's alright there. You know, I can live with it. I've dealt with worse, and that is what it is. Everything hurts though, so I think my body's just saying stop sleeping so much and staying still. Go do something, you fucking fuck. I think that's what it's trying to tell me. Body's telling me sleep more. 4 2 days ago and 6 yesterday. Damn. And that was the best. Frick. Guess I shouldn't complain. Well, no, I should complain. Because complaining is the life juice of life. At least that's what the old people say, right? Damn. Fantastic. Oh, wait, I can just do this. Can't I? Transparency. Can I make it transparent? Might that work? Oh, maybe I need more. Or maybe it's completely black behind already as it is. This is strange. What? That doesn't make any sense. Alright then. Cool. Sleeping too much is also not great. Yeah. It's not. It definitely is not. Oh well, I think I have in the past. I don't remember it though. The Bloodborne for sure. I think I agree. I think I believe you're right. I do believe I would like it quite a lot. Yes. Yeah. I've got some editing to do to upload the frick, there's so many time-consuming things that I want to do. Maybe I should look up like an editor on Fiverr, just to get the audio stuff going, so I can just upload it and be done with. All right. Damn, that's good. Sick. Why is it so large? That's what she said. Stupid. No, don't worry about it. That was not a way for me to like make you want feel bad or even think about editing. It's not like The thing is, it's so bad because the only thing I'm doing is is removing the mouth clicks, and sometimes breaths, and also the retakes, the times when I fumble through what I'm saying. And then that's literally it. So, it's the easiest thing to do. It's monotone as fuck, boring as hell, don't learn really anything, but it's also good for me to, know what I'm getting better at, and sort of, not gesticulate, guesstimate, I guess, how along the journey of narration I am. Fucking burn. Got him. How does it feel to know that the music from my favorite game is better than your favorite game entirely? Holy shit. Fucking toasted, hmm? Big toasty. Hunter and Ludwig's holy sword. I would... Oh, frick. I didn't mean to click that. I would listen more to them, but I can't do it on stream. Because I'm streaming on YouTube as well. Double streaming. It's true. Can't fault me for speaking the truth. That is a fair point. It's not copyrighted? I would be very surprised if it wasn't. Very surprised. Because it's, a Japanese. A Japanese. FromSoft is Japanese, right? Kadokawa. Sony Interactive. Yeah. Founded in 1986. Sasatsuka, Tokyo, Japan. Founder Naoto Shizen. Boss. What? Right, God. Lord of blasphemy. The Duke's never. Cool. I've never checked that before. At the bottom of the description for these songs, it doesn't. Oh. Well. Let's see if this works even. That one. Yeah, damn right he is. Frankenstein, or The Modern Prometheus, by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. Letter 1. To Mrs. Saville, England. St. Petersburg, December 11th, 1700. Shut the hell up. Hell up. Sick. Unimaginably well done, really. That is pretty sick. Unimaginably well done, really. That is pretty sick. Nice. What was I gonna do? Oh, that. Let's see. What was I gonna do? Oh, that. Violations. Where would that be? You play Dark Souls? Yeah, for sure. Isn't it also the case? The case? Of it being well done, or? Let's see here. Holy, my brain is off right now. That's nuts. Is that possible? How? There. What if I didn't want to do that? Right, well, strange. That's what I want to do. Bloodborne soundtrack. Holy fuck. Yeah. The one broken floating texture in Bloodborne that they forgot to cut. Ignore that. Love it. The Old Hunters. Swedish Radio Symphony Orchestra. Cool. Licenses. No, this is licensed. I don't know if that is what that means. Holy. Sick. That's cool. I mean, hot? Hey, when are you not, you know? Cool. Very, very nice, very nice. I will save that for a rainy day. For now, I will start the narration. And I am excited. This is the problem, though. I've made it so I talk like this. It is with considerable difficulty that I remember the original era of my being. And that will hurt my voice. So, I'm fucked. So I will just speak. It is with considerable difficulty that I remember the original era of my being. All the events of that period appear confused and indistinct. I've heard this before. Cool. I really am an L nerd. No W's in sight. But, definitely do want to read it at some point. Play it at some point. Okay, let me do this just because my back is in so much fucking pain. L nerd bastard. Chapter 11. Chapter 11. Chapter 11. It is with considerable difficulty that I remember the original era of my being. All the events of that period appeared confused and indistinct. A strange multiplicity of sensations seized me, and I saw, felt, heard, and smelt at the same time. And it was, indeed, a long time before I learned to distinguish between the operations of my various senses. By degrees I remember a stronger light pressed upon my nerves, so that I was obliged to shut my eyes. Darkness then came over me and troubled me, but hardly had I felt this when, by opening my eyes, as I now suppose, the light poured in upon me again. I walked and, I believe, descended, but I presently found a great alteration in my sensations. Before, dark and opaque bodies had surrounded me, impervious to my touch or sight, but now I found that I could wander on at liberty, with no obstacles which I could not either surmount or avoid. The light became more and more oppressive to me, and the heat wearing me as I walked, I sought a place where I could receive shade. This was the forest near Ingolstadt, and here I lay by the side of a brook resting from my fatigue, until I felt tormented by hunger and thirst. This roused me from my nearly dormant state, and I ate some berries which I found hanging on the trees or lying on the ground. I slaked my thirst at the brook, and then, lying down, was overcome by sleep. It was dark when I awoke. I felt cold, also, and half frightened, as it were, instinctively, finding myself so desolate. Before I had quitted your apartment on a sensation of cold, I had covered myself with some clothes, but these were insufficient to secure me from the dews of night. I was a poor, helpless, miserable wretch. I knew and could distinguish nothing, but feeling pain invade me on all sides, I sat down and wept. Soon a gentle light stole over the heavens and gave me a sensation of pleasure. I started up and beheld a radiant form rise from among the trees. The moon. I gazed with a kind of wonder. It moved slowly, but it enlightened my path, and I again went out in search of berries. I was still cold when under one of the trees I found a huge cloak, with which I covered myself, and sat down upon the ground. No distinct ideas occupied my mind. All was confused. I felt light and hunger, and thirst, and darkness. Innumerable sounds rang in my ears, and on all sides various scents saluted me. The only object that I could distinguish was the bright moon, and I fixed my eyes on that with pleasure. You fucking heard the Jews? The Jews. Oh, because Jews. I got it. Yes, there's more J than D. That's funny. You Jew. Several changes of day and night passed, and the orb of night had greatly lessened, and I began to distinguish my sensations from each other. I gradually saw plainly the clear stream that supplied me with drink, and the trees that shaded me with their foliage. I was delighted when I first discovered that a pleasant sound, which often saluted my ears, proceeded from the throats of the little winged animals who had often intercepted the light from my eyes. I began also to observe with greater accuracy the forms that surrounded me, and to perceive the boundaries of the radiant roof of light which canopied me. Sometimes I tried to imitate the pleasant songs of the birds, but was unable. Sometimes I wished to express my sensations in my own mode, but the uncouth and inarticulate sounds which broke from me frightened me into silence again. The moon had disappeared from the night, and again, with a lessened form, showed itself, while I still remained in the forest. My sensations had by this time become distinct, and my mind received every day additional ideas. My eyes became accustomed to the light and to perceive objects in the right forms. I distinguished the insect from the herb, and by degrees one herb from another. I found that the sparrow uttered none but harsh notes, whilst those of the blackbird and thrush were sweet and enticing. One day, when I was oppressed by cold, I found a fire which had been left by some wandering beggars, and was overcome with delight at the warmth I experienced from it. In my joy I thrust my hand into the live embers, but quickly drew it out again with a cry of pain. How strange, I thought, that the same cause should produce such opposite effects. I examined the materials of the fire, and to my joy found it to be composed of wood. I quickly collected some branches, but they were wet and would not burn. I was pained at this, and sat still watching the operation of the fire. The wet wood which I had placed near the heat dried, and itself became inflamed. I reflected on this, and by touching the various branches, I discovered the cause and busied myself in collecting a great quantity of wood, that I might dry it and have a plentiful supply of fire. When night came on and brought sleep with it, I was in the greatest fear lest my fire should be extinguished. I covered it carefully with dry wood and leaves and placed wet branches upon it, and then, spreading my cloak, I lay on the ground and sank into sleep. Sick. What up, Salzito? It is. And I made the mistake of changing my accent. Normally, I did this before I started, but that's gonna destroy my voice eventually, so it's a little lighter. And I quote The Walking Jew. It's also not a location. True. That is a weird example. Linked to a certain location. So, Jews are linked to everything, because you can walk in everything. That is why they are controlling the world. It is true. Yes. How you doing, Saul? Better call Saul. Brother? How about the pirate and the sea? True. Oh, like, almost like a stereotypes within certain environs. Aliens in space, that's true. Or ninjas and temples. No, that'd be monks in temples, maybe. Ninjas in space. It was morning when I awoke, and my first care was to visit the fire. I uncovered it, and a gentle breeze quickly fanned it into a flame. I observed this also, and contrived a fan of branches, which roused the embers when they were nearly extinguished. When night came again, I found, with pleasure, that the fire gave light as well as heat, and that the discovery of this element was useful to me in my food. For I found some of the offals that the travelers had left had been roasted, and tasted much more savory than the berries I gathered from the trees. I tried, therefore, to dress my food in the same manner, placing it on the live embers. I found that the berries were spoiled by this operation, and the nuts and roots much improved. Food, however, became scarce, and I often spent the whole day searching in vain for a few acorns to assuage the pangs of hunger. When I found this, I resolved to quit the place that I had hitherto inhabited, to seek for one where the few wants I experienced would be more easily satisfied. In this emigration, I exceedingly lamented the loss of the fire, which I had obtained through accident, and knew not how to reproduce it. I gave several hours to the serious consideration of this difficulty, but I was obliged to relinquish all attempt to supply it, and wrapping myself up in my cloak, I struck across the wood towards the setting sun. I passed 3 days in these rambles, and at length discovered the open country. A great fall of snow had taken place the night before, and the fields were of one uniform white. The appearance was disconsolate. Disconsolate? Disconsolate. That's a word. And I found my feet chilled by the cold, damp substance that covered the ground. Sick. I'm doing well, Saul. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you can enjoy homosexual black people in space. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Yes, that movie. I think I've heard about it at least. Not seen it though. It was about 7 in the morning, and I longed to obtain food and shelter. At length I perceived a small hut on a rising ground, which had doubtless been built for the convenience of some shepherd. This was a new sight to me, and I examined the structure with great curiosity. Finding the door open, I entered. An old man sat in it, near a fire, over which he was preparing his breakfast. He turned on hearing a noise, and perceiving me, shrieked loudly, and quitting the hut ran across the fields with a speed of which his debilitated form hardly appeared capable. His appearance different from any I had ever before seen, and his flight somewhat surprised me, but I was enchanted by the appearance of the hut. Here the snow and rain could not penetrate. The ground was dry, and it presented me, then, as exquisite and divine. A retreat as pandemonium appeared to the demons of hell after the sufferings in the lake of fire. I greedily devoured the remnants of the shepherd's breakfast, which consisted of bread, cheese, milk, and wine. The latter, however, I did not like. Then, overcome by fatigue, I lay down among some straw and fell asleep. It was noon. Noon? Why did I say it that way? It was noon when I awoke, and allured by the warmth of the sun which shone brightly on the white ground, I determined to recommence my travels. And depositing the remains of the peasant's breakfast in a wallet I proceeded across the fields for several hours, until at sunset I arrived at a village. How miraculous did this appear! The huts, the neater cottages, and stately houses engaged my admiration by turns. The vegetables in the gardens, the milk and cheese that I saw placed at the windows of some of the cottages, allured my appetite. One of the best of these I entered, but I had hardly placed my foot within the door before the children shrieked, and one of the women fainted. The whole village was roused. Some fled, some attacked me, until, grievously bruised by stones and many other kinds of missile weapons, I escaped to the open country and fearfully took refuge in a low hovel, quite bare, and making a wretched appearance after the palaces I had beheld in the village. This hovel, however, joined a cottage of a neat and pleasant experience, but after my late dearly bought experience, I dared not enter it. My place of refuge was constructed of wood, but so low that I could with difficulty sit upright in it. No wood, however, was placed on the hearth. No wood, however, was placed on the earth, which formed the floor, but it was dry. And although the wind entered it by innumerable chinks, I found it an agreeable asylum from the snow and rain. Snow and rain sounds like Sweden. True, that is true. What did you think of it, Sparka? What was your opinion? Bah, da, давай, yeah. So, what was it about? I mean, I guess I can kind of assume it, or allude to what it's about, but I feel like, you know exactly what it's about. I guess I do. The title says it all. They're not homosexual. Wait, so it's what is that? I love it. Interesting. Oh, a species. Well, I was not expecting that. Well, there you have it. Holy shit, it was a week ago. Good lord. Man, time flies. It's not a long movie. I can imagine. I don't feel like there'd be a lot to, well, I guess you could... The world's your oyster, or the universe in this case, right? This is space. So... there is potential for a lot. That's funny. Fair. It's probably an old movie at this point, right? Here, then, I retreated and lay down happy to found a shelter, however miserable, from the inclemency of the season, and still more from the barbarity of man. And still more from the barbarity of man. As soon as morning dawned, I crept from my kennel, that I might view the adjacent cottage and discover if I could remain in the habitation I'd found. It was situated against the back of the cottage, and surrounded on the sides which were exposed by a pigsty and a clear pool of water. One part was open, and by that I had crept in, but now I covered every crevice by which I might be perceived with stones and wood, yet in such a manner that I might move them on occasion to pass out. All the light I enjoyed came through the sky, and that was sufficient for me. But it's a Danish movie? I had no idea. What? How? Huh? Oh, 1992. Good lord. That's like a YouTube video. 26 minutes. A short film. Fantastic. Having thus arranged my dwelling and carpeted it with clean straw, I retired, for I saw the figure of a man at a distance, and I remembered too well my treatment the night before to trust myself in his power. I had at first, however, provided for my sustenance for that day by a loaf of coarse bread, which I purloined, and a cup with which I could drink more conveniently than from my hand of the pure water which flowed by my retreat. The floor was a little raised, so that it was kept perfectly dry, and by its vicinity to the chimney of the cottage it was tolerably warm. Being thus provided, I resolved to reside in this hovel until something should occur, which might alter my determination. It was indeed a paradise compared to the bleak forest, my former residence, the rain-dropping branches and dank earth. I ate my breakfast with pleasure, and was about to remove a plank to procure myself a little water, when I heard a step, and looking through a small chink, I beheld a young creature, with a pail on her head, passing before my hovel. The girl was young and of gentle demeanor, unlike what I have since found cottagers and farmhouse servants to be. Yet she was meanly dressed, a coarse blue petticoat and a linen jacket being her only garb. Her fair hair was plaited, but not adorned. She looked patient, yet sad. I lost sight of her, and in about a quarter of an hour she returned bearing the pail, which was now partly filled with milk. As she walked along, seemingly incommoded by the burden, a young man met her, whose countenance expressed a deeper despondence. Uttering a few sounds with an air of melancholy, he took the pail from her head and bore it to the cottage himself. She followed, and they disappeared. She followed, and they disappeared. Presently I saw the young man again with some tools in his hand cross the field behind the cottage, and the girl was also busied, sometimes in the house and sometimes in the yard. What's up, Sand?
Yo! Ow! You hurt me.
Whoop-de-doo! They are gay, very much so. The synopsis is this: extraterrestrial beings travel the galaxy to free men oppressed by females. To make way for an entirely homosexual society. Ha! Wow. I would never. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo, how do you do? Good to see you. Na na na. How's the relationship going? Is it going well? Oh, dude, don't remind me. I still have the chips unopened. Like, how many bags do I have? 9? Pretty sure. It's, yeah, 9 bags. Whew. Oh shit, congrats. Sick. Johnny's gone. What shall I do? Away you, high low. Oh, Johnny's gone, and I'll go too. John's gone to high low. Just got back from lunch. Sick. He was out of town with his family. Ah. What is this? You know, onto your hand. Oh, this one. It's so good. I love it. You know, onto your hand. Listen to that sound effect, though. Still so impressed by it. Onto your hand. You know, onto your hand. So stupid. I like this song. It's piano. It's so perfect. It's so good. It's beautiful. The clear echo. Ding. Imagine if I'd yelled though. Oh. Ow. Oh, my back. Why do you hurt so much?
Freaking snit.
Oh, I love this song. Baka, have you heard this before? Have you played Risk of Rain 1? This is where it's from. The last boss, the last place. Such a good song. It's so beautiful. It's called Coalescence. Oh, you know what? La 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 la. Isn't this possible? No, that's not it. That's not it. Is it display? Nope. It is it. Is it game? No, window capture. Of course. The bottom. Or not. Never mind. Wait, what? No, that's not it. Oh, that's that one. Got a double. Okay. Huh. Whoa! Sick. I did it. Where should I keep this? Here? Oh. That's good, right? Hey, what's up, Dablick? I know that feeling, Scent. Wreck Rock 1 is getting a remaster. That makes me so excited. That's huge. What's up? A sound effect repertoire? You mean like my voice acting repertoire? My case, my accents and registers and all that? I learned that from my brother. My brother. I guess zombie, but that's not really a sound effect. Imagine waking up to that. Oops, frick. Da-da, da-da. Cool. That's the one. Ow. Sorry. I cried. How you doing, Dablick? Always good to see you. Do you have a sound effect library repertoire? You do, with 201 bits. That's true. Yeah, to make a monster. Exactly, I was thinking that too. A semantic field is formed by words, sayings, and paraphrases with a meanings that are related. That's all fine, but then after that sentence it says in parentheses, Seaman. No. That's not funny. That's not funny. Bad translation, it's okay. Yeah, compilation. You guys are gonna have to make a compilation for me of the sound effects. Sick. Oh, I love this song. How does it keep coming up? On examining my dwelling, I found that one of the windows of the cottage had formerly occupied a part of it, but the panes had been filled up with wood. And one of these was a small and almost imperceptible chink, through which the eye could just penetrate. Through this crevice a small room was visible, whitewashed and clean, but very bare of furniture. In one corner, near a small fire, sat an old man, leaning his head on his hands in a disconsolate attitude. The young girl was occupied in arranging the cottage, but presently she took something out of a drawer, which employed her hands, and she sat down beside the old man, who, taking up an instrument, began to play, and to produce sound sweeter than the voice of the thrush or the nightingale. It was a lovely sight, even to me, poor wretch who had never beheld aught beautiful before. The silver hair and benevolent countenance of the aged cottager. The silver hair and benevolent countenance of the aged cottager won my reverence, while the gentle manners of the girl enticed my love. He played a sweet mournful air, which I perceived drew tears from the eyes of his amiable companion, of which the old man took no notice until she sobbed audibly. He then pronounced a few sounds, and the fair creature, leaving her work, knelt at his feet. He raised her and smiled with such kindness and affection that I felt sensations of a peculiar and overpowering nature. They were a mixture of pain and pleasure, such as I had never before experienced, either from hunger or cold, warmth or food, and I withdrew from the window, unable to bear these emotions. Soon after this the young man returned, bearing on his shoulders a load of wood. The girl met him at the door, helped to relieve him of his burden, and taking some of the fuel into the cottage, placed it on the fire. Then she and the youth went apart into a nook of the cottage, and he showed her a large loaf and a piece of cheese. She seemed pleased and went into the garden for some roots and plants, which she placed in water, and then upon a fire. She afterwards continued her work, whilst the young man went into the garden and appeared busily employed in digging and pulling up roots. After he had been employed thus about an hour, the young woman joined him, and they entered the cottage together. The old man had, in the meantime, been pensive, but on the appearance of his companions he assumed a more cheerful air, and they sat down to eat. The meal was quickly dispatched. The young woman was again occupied in arranging the cottage, and the old man walked before the cottage in the sun for a few minutes, leaning on the arm of the youth. Nothing could exceed in beauty the contrast between these two excellent creatures. One was old, with silver hairs, and a countenance beaming with benevolence and love. The younger was slight and graceful in his figure, and his features were molded with the finest symmetry. Yet his eyes and attitude expressed the utmost sadness and despondency. The old man returned to the cottage, and the youth, with tools different from those he had used in the morning, directed his steps across the fields. Night quickly shut in, but to my extreme wonder I found that the cottagers had a means of prolonging light by the use of tapers, and was delighted to find that the setting of the sun did not put an end to the pleasure I experienced in watching my human neighbors. In the evening, the young girl and her companion were employed in various occupations which I did not understand, and the old man again took up the instrument which produced the divine sounds that had enchanted me in the morning. So soon as he had finished, the youth began, not to play, but to utter sounds that were monotonous, and neither resembling the harmony of the old man's instrument nor the songs of the birds. I since found that he read aloud, but at that time I knew nothing of the science of words or letters. The family, after having been thus occupied for a short time, extinguished their lights and retired, and, as I conjectured, to rest, to rest, to rest, to rest. Tourist. That voice is not too easy to do, not gonna lie. And it's probably fucked up more chapters too. Whew. Unbearably garbage. Wow. If a pop song is longer than 3 minutes, it is no longer a pop song, but a punk song. What? Who? What? Oh, true. Yeah, James Bond? Yeah. Huh. Did she elaborate why she thought James Bond was, had great character development? Maybe. No, that can't be it. She didn't. How old is she? It could be that she's like... Well, one, it could be nepotism. You know, that's how she gets in. Because she knows someone in the family and she's, you know... Or, she's old? I'm just gonna get some water real quick. Give me a moment, please. Yeah? Fantastic. Oh, my back is hurty, wetty. Not old to be that stupid. Well, I hate to break it to you, but age has nothing to do with the stupidity. Oh. Well, you can have some relation, I guess, man. As far as I know, age should make you smarter, yes? Oh, that's nice. Should in theory make you smart, but that is not how it always works, is it not? This is fun. I like this. And I've already read for an hour? That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, probably not for an hour. I've read actually for 20 minutes or so. And this time. At least he has an excuse. 45th is insufferable as a person. Ugh. That sucks. Damn. How long are you gonna have her? Do you know? Chapter 12. I lay on my straw, but I could not sleep. I thought of the occurrences of the day. What chiefly struck me was the gentle manners of these people, and I longed to join them, but dared not. I remembered too well the treatment I had suffered the night before from the barbarous villagers, and resolved, whatever course of conduct I might hereafter think it right to pursue, that for the present I would remain quietly in my hovel, watching and endeavoring to discover the motives which influenced their actions. The cottagers arose the next morning before the sun. The young woman arranged the cottage and prepared the food, and the young departed after the first meal. This day was passed in the same routine as that which preceded it. The young man was constantly employed out of doors, and the girl in various laborious occupations within. The old man, The old man, whom I soon perceived to be blind, employed his leisure hours. What? Employed his leisure hours on his instrument or in contemplation. Nothing could exceed the love and respect which the younger cottagers exhibited towards their venerable companion. They performed towards him every little office of affection and duty with gentleness, and he rewarded them by his benevolent smiles. They were not entirely happy. The young man and his companion often went apart and appeared to weep. I saw no cause for their unhappiness, but I was deeply affected by it. If such lovely creatures were miserable, it was less strange that I, an imperfect and solitary being, should be wretched. Yet, why were these gentle beings unhappy? They possessed a delightful house, for such it was in my eyes, and every luxury. They had a fire to warm them when chill and delicious viands when hungry. They were dressed in excellent clothes, and still more, they enjoyed each other's company and speech, interchanging each day looks of affection and kindness. What did their tears imply? Did they really express pain? I was at first unable to solve these questions, but perpetual attention and time explained to me many appearances which were at first enigmatic. Yes. Thus and so. Oh, sick. Not after this past semester. That's good. She has to teach about how coherent stories are. And she has no clue about the subject. It sounds like... Oh, this is just, this is only the monster, Solzita, the Frankenstein's monster. So there's no differing of characters. He's just retelling his story of what happened before he now met Frankenstein, which is where we're at this point in the book. Frankenstein, Frankenstein, told him he was abhorrent and wretched and bade him leave, never return. And the monster was like, please, listen to me, master. If not anyone, if not even you can love me, a wretched monster such as I, then why? And so, he's telling the story. That is hot. Hot. It's just water. Excuse me. A considerable period elapsed before I discovered one of the causes of the uneasiness of this amiable family. It was poverty, and they suffered that evil in a very distressing degree. Their nourishment consisted entirely of the vegetables of their garden and the milk of the cow, which gave very little during the winter, when its masters could scarcely procure food to support it. They often, I believe, suffered the pangs of hunger very, very poignantly, especially the two younger cottagers. For several times they placed food before the old man when they reserved none for themselves. This trait of kindness moved me, sensibly. I had been accustomed, during the night, to steal a part of their store for my own consumption, but when I found that in doing this I inflicted pain on the cottagers, I abstained and satisfied myself with berries, nuts, and roots, which I gathered from a neighboring wood. I discovered also another means through which I was enabled to assist their labors. I found that the youth spent a great part of each day in collecting wood for the family fire, and during the night I often took his tools, the use of which I quickly discovered, and brought home firing sufficient for the consumption of several days. You lost yourself? Oh, ADHD. Gotcha. Fair. Yeah, then it would probably make more sense if it's it would probably be easier when there are different characters, not just one. Sounds like a Skyrim almost. I remember the first time that I did this. The young woman, when she opened the door in the morning, appeared greatly astonished on seeing a great pile of wood on the outside. She uttered some words in a loud voice, and the youth joined her, who also expressed surprise. I observed, with pleasure, that he did not go to the forest that day, but spent it in repairing the cottage and cultivating the garden. By degrees I made a discovery of still greater moment. I found that these people possessed a method of communicating their experience and feelings to one another by articulate sounds. I perceived that the words they spoke sometimes produced pleasure or pain, smiles or sadness, in the minds and countenances of the hearers. This was indeed a godlike science, and I ardently desired to become acquainted with it. But I was baffled in every attempt I made for this purpose. Their pronunciation was quick, and the words they uttered not having any apparent connection with visible objects, I was unable to discover any clue by which I could unravel the mystery of their reference. By great application, however, and after having remained during the space of several revolutions of the moon in my hovel, I discovered the names that were given to some of the most familiar objects of discourse. I learned and applied the words fire, milk, bread, and wood. I learned also the names of the cottagers themselves. The youth and his companion had each of them several names, but the old man had only one, which was Father. The girl was called Sister or Agatha, and the youth Felix, Brother or Son. I cannot describe the delight I felt when I learned the ideas appropriated to each of these sounds, and was able to pronounce them. I distinguished several other words without being able, as yet, to understand or apply them, such as good, dearest, and happy. I spent the winter in this manner. The gentle manners and beauty of the cottagers greatly endeared them to me. When they were unhappy, I felt depressed. When they rejoiced, I sympathized in their joys. Excuse me. I saw few human beings besides them, and if any other happened to enter the cottage, their harsh manners and rude gait only enhanced to me their superior accomplishments of my friends. The old man, I could perceive, often endeavored to encourage his children, as sometimes I found that he called them to cast off their melancholy. He would talk in a cheerful accent, with an expression of goodness that bestowed pleasure even upon me. Why is it... Okay. Amazing. Semen, in parentheses. I'm so confused. Damn, nice all. That's really good though. Isaac Asimov. Huh. I've heard of him. Haven't read his books though. It's really cool. Nice. Yeah, that's great. Seaman. Seaman. Thirst. Where was I? Hope you are well, Rabbit. If you can hear me. I hope you are good. I don't see where I was. There. Agatha listened with respect, her eyes sometimes filled with tears, which she endeavored to wipe away unperceived. But I generally found that her countenance and tone were more cheerful after having listened to the exhortations of her father. It was not thus with Felix. He was always the saddest of the group, and even to my unpracticed senses, he appeared to have suffered more deeply than his friends. But if his countenance was more sorrowful, his voice was more cheerful than that of his sister, especially when he addressed the old man. I could mention innumerable instances which, although slight, marked the dispositions of these amiable cottagers. In the midst of poverty and want, Felix carried with pleasure to his sister the first little white flower that peeped out from beneath the snowy ground. Early in the morning, before she had risen, he cleared away the snow that obstructed her path to the milk house, drew the water from the well, and brought the wood from the outhouse, where, to his perpetual astonishment, he found his store always replenished by an invisible hand. In the day, I believe, he worked sometimes for a neighboring farmer, because he often went forth and did not return until dinner. Yet brought no wood with him. At other times he worked in the garden, but as there was little to do in the frosty season, he read to the old man and Agatha. This reading had puzzled me extremely at first, but by degrees I discovered that he uttered many of the same sounds when he read as when he talked. I conjectured therefore that he found on the paper signs for speech, which he understood, and I ardently longed to comprehend these also. But how was that possible, when I did not even understand the sounds for which they stood as signs? I improved, however, sensibly in these signs, but not sufficiently to follow up any kind of conversation, although I applied my whole mind to the endeavour, for I easily perceived that, although I eagerly longed to discover myself to the cottagers, I ought not to make the attempt until I had first become master of their language, which knowledge might enable me to make them overlook the deformity of my figure. For with this also the contrast perpetually presented to my eyes had made me acquainted. I had admired the perfect forms of my cottagers, their grace, beauty, and delicate complexions. But how was I terrified when I viewed myself in a transparent pool. At first I started back, unable to believe that it was indeed I who was reflected in the mirror. And when I became fully convinced that I was in reality the monster that I am, I was filled with the bitterest sensations of despondence and mortification. Alas, I did not yet entirely know the fatal effects of this miserable deformity. As the sun became warmer and the light of day longer, the snow vanished, and I beheld the bare trees and the black earth. From this time Felix was more employed, and the heart-moving indications of impending famine disappeared. Their food, as I afterwards found, was coarse, but it was wholesome, and they procured a sufficiency of it. Several new kinds of plants sprang up in the garden, which they dressed, and these signs of comfort increased daily as the season advanced. The old man, leaning on his son, walked each day at noon, when it did not rain, as I found it was cold when the heavens poured forth its waters. This frequently took place, but a high wind quickly dried the earth, and the season became far more pleasant than it had been. Sick. Hey, what's up, Charla? Charla! How are you? 1940. Oh, that's why I recognize him. Yes, Baka. Far from the same as the movie. I love iRobot, actually. From what I remember of it, though. I'm doing well, thank you. Just drinking some tea without the tea, you know. It's got water and honey. Yeah, something Asimov. What is his name? Isaac Asimov. Bookish butter. Yeah, I'll believe it. I would actually love to read one of Stephen King's book on stream, but sadly they are copywritten, and that I don't know if it's really allowed to read them. So, yes. I'm doing well, Charlotte. Did I answer you? I legitimately can't remember. Brain's off today. It's alright. Have I read Stephen King before? Well, didn't I? Maybe we weren't around then. I read The Stand, maybe like for 3 months or so. 1,200 pages or more. I think 1,300 or something. Such a good book. Let me check what I've read actually by Stephen King. Not that many, but a few. Let's see. I'm almost finished with Blood of Elves, The Witcher. Where is it? More. T. Conti. What is T. Conti? T. Conti. Again, they don't have much to do with each other. Yeah, they're also different mediums. I've read... Wait, are they not here? Oh, I reread Pet Sematary this year, or last year. Fucking, it's 2023. Crazy. Let's see. Infinite Scroll. I reread The Night of the Southern Kingdoms. I read last year by Stephen King. I read. See if I can find it. I listened to On Writing too. Oh, that was 2021. What the fuck? Time? What the hell? Time. Stop. I actually listened to so many. Oh, the first Stephen King book I read was The Institute, which was apparently not in line with his typical writing style. But then I read The Stand after that. Then I read If It Bleeds. What did I read too? Huh. Guess I don't have any more. Oh, thank you at least. But If It Bleeds is like a collection of 4 or 5 short stories. I do want to read the Mercedes though at some point. I feel like that'd be very fun. It's hard to place the accent, you say, eh? I don't have an accent. My accent is accentless, because I do every accent. Sometimes I do Irish accents. Sometimes I do a Russian accent, but it is more rough. For the most part I do an American, a North general American accent. Sometimes I do an Australian accent. Not as good though. Do you have to practice that? I'd say. But yes, there is only one thing, and it's almost hidden. I don't know if you can recognize this. It is IKEA. If you think of IKEA, maybe you'd think of the first thing that IKEA is related to. And maybe that will help you in figuring out. For the most part, though, it's either this, the British accent, which is very posh and, I don't know, sometimes convincing, other times not very much, and the other majority is the American accent that I possess. Flat pack furniture, amazing. Yes, that is the country I live in. I live in flat pack furniture. That's funny. The country of my residence. I wish. My niece actually loves IKEA. Some of you know her as Waterfox. A great time. What do I want to say? No, I live in Sweden. I am Swedish. So for the most part, before I became better at controlling my accent, I would almost sound like this. And Swedish accent, the Swedish accent is probably the worst accent. I mean, just like listen to, unless it's a woman, you know? Swedish accents can sound very cute when they come from a woman. But from a man, I mean, look at PewDiePie. Sure, he's attractive and all, but like, his accent, Eesh. Anyway, yeah, that's where I'm from. My mode of life in my hovel was uniform. During the morning I attended the motions of the cottagers, and when they were dispersed in various occupations, I slept. The remainder of the day was spent in observing my friends. When they had retired to rest, if there was any moon or the night was starlight, I went into the woods and collected my own food and fuel for the cottage. When I returned, as often as it was necessary, I cleared their path from the snow and performed those offices that I had seen done by Felix. I afterwards found that these labors performed by an invisible hand greatly astonished them, and once or twice I heard them, on these occasions, utter the words "good spirit," "wonderful," but I did not then understand the signification of these terms. Oh shit, welcome back, Buck. Buck. Welcome back. Where are you from, Charla? Charla? My thoughts now become more active, and I longed to discover the motives and feelings of these lovely creatures. I was inquisitive to know why Felix appeared so miserable, and Agatha so sad. I thought, foolish wretch, that it might be in my power to restore happiness to these deserving people. When I slept, or was absent, the forms of the venerable blind father, the gentle Agatha, and the excellent Felix flitted before me. I looked upon them as superior beings who would be the arbiters of my future destiny. I formed in my imagination 1,000 pictures of presenting myself to them and their reception of me. I imagined that they would be disgusted until by my gentle demeanor and conciliating words, I should first win their favor, and afterwards their love. These thoughts exhilarated me, and led me to apply with fresh ardor to the acquiring the art of language. My organs were indeed harsh, but supple, and although my voice was very unlike the soft music of their tones, yet I pronounced such words as I understood with tolerable ease. It was as the ass and the lapdog, yet surely the gentle ass, whose intentions were affectionate, although his manners were rude, deserved better treatment than blows and execration. The pleasant showers and genial warmth of spring greatly altered the aspect of the earth. Men who before this change seemed to have been hid in caves dispersed themselves, and were employed in various arts of cultivation. The birds sang in more cheerful notes, and the leaves began to bud forth on the trees. Happy, happy earth, fit habitation for gods, which, so short a time before, was bleak, damp, and unwholesome. My spirits were elevated by the enchanting appearance of nature. The wild was blotted from my memory. The present was tranquil, and the future gilded by bright rays of hope and anticipations of joy.
Holy smokes. Another chapter. Thick.
Focuses more on quantity than quality, really. Yeah, punk songs. Punk songs longer than 3 minutes. It makes no sense. I don't know about that. I haven't read too much. I've only read, 3 books by Stephen King. And, I don't know if I agree. I can probably see why she would say that. But then again... Did you hear that? I am warm. Sweaty Betty. Am I so sweaty? Why am I so sweaty? Tell me why. Sick. Fantastic. I can't believe the time is flying so fast. This is crazy. What's going on? What in the world? I love it. We're almost halfway of the entire book. That is also crazy. Wow. Okay, boomer, right? True. Let's see. By the way, guys, if you want to, I have, if you want to listen to Frankenstein from the beginning, I have edited the recordings that I'm doing now and uploaded them to YouTube. So if you scroll down and click the YouTube link, you can listen there if you want to hear the whole thing. Yes, I remember now that I've uploaded them on my main channel. This being the Twitch, the thing. Chapter 13. I now hasten to the more moving part of my story. I shall relate events that impressed me with feelings which, from what I had been, have made me what I am. Spring advanced rapidly. The weather became fine, and the skies cloudless. It surprised me that what before was desert and gloomy should now bloom with the most beautiful flowers and verdure. My senses were gratified and refreshed by 1,000 scents of delight and a thousand sights of beauty. It was on one of these days, when my cottagers periodically rested from labor, the old man played on his guitar, and the children listened to him, that I observed the countenance of Felix was melancholy beyond expression. He sighed frequently, and once his father paused in his music, and I conjectured by his manner that he inquired the cause of his son's sorrow. Felix replied in a cheerful accent, and the old man was recommencing his music when someone tapped at the door. Thanks for listening, Saul. Take care, alright? Peace. Enjoy yourself on this fabulous cheese day, is it? I actually feel like I want to be done here, to be honest. But it's also not even been 2 hours. Oh, true. Hereditary. That is not a genre. Yeah. I don't like... Genre is not a thing. Well, actually. Genre is not a thing for authors, but it is for readers. Hey, Water Fox. You fucking what? A paranormal event. Yeah, dude, Hereditary is such a good movie, though. Talking about a genre like that. Yeah. How am I doing? I'm doing fantastic, Waterfox. I think I'm done reading for now, right? Oh yeah. How you doing? How are you, Waterfox? Noise reduction. Well, genre's a thing in a way, but it's a complex thing. Yeah, I mean, for authors, genre doesn't matter. I guess only for critics or, you know, for the people who sell the books. Chapter 11. Oops. Da 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 da. I just love listening to music. Me too. Me too. Me too. I poo. Me too, I poo. I mean, I don't think you should as an author. Because at the end of the day, that is kind of what happens after the book is done. It's not something you want to try to focus on. It's not the important thing. It's more the, you know, the plot, the characters, the story. That should be the important part. And the cadence or flow, if you will. Which is why I don't think, as an author, genres shouldn't matter. I think you can have an atmosphere without knowing what the genre is, though. I mean, at the end of the day, everything is intentional until it becomes unintentional. Because you can write with atmosphere in mind, but that doesn't necessarily mean that a type of genre is in mind. Poo poo, I do do. Poo poo, big doo doo. Huh, nice. Sick. Zero. Fantastic. Chapter 1. Oh. Okay, amazing. What? Okay. Doesn't even work. What the hell? Thanks, Doc. What? Never mind then. Whatever, it's fine. Na 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 na. Yeah, we call it genre, but it's spelled in the exact same way. Genre is how it's pronounced. It's spelled genre. 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 What about English doesn't? What do you mean? Oh, I guess genre? Wait. Does it come from French? It does. Gender. Wow. Oh, genre's been mostly used since the 1950s. French, literally a kind. See? Gender. There you go. Category. Yeah. Categorization, classification, grouping. Bracket. Division. Kidney. What? Ilk. Yeah. Where'd ilk come from? 1800. It's gone down since then. Wow. Yeah. It probably didn't exist until critics and people wanting to study them came up, because then you had to differentiate them from each other. And we humans, we love words of identity. We love separating something from another. You know, separating ourselves, I guess. Which is why genders. It's funny how never mind. I was gonna say it's funny how gender, similar to genre. Big boobies. All right. I'm gonna stop here. Probably don't need to, but I will. It's been a day of genres. It's been a day. It's been a day. What a day. What a day. Shabam. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you. Go like this video, or else I'll haunt you when I die, and before I die. So, go ahead, everybody. Is it possible to do this? Too? Oh, you can't. You bastard. You rat fucking bastard. Dang. Also, a lot more bread. Damn. Sick. Chapter 1. Plato. Oh, I bumped it. Plato and Pluto. A lot more bread. Seaman. You bastard. Butts more bread, Seaman. Wow. Amazing. Fucking fantastic, innit? Alright, peace in the streets, everybody. Good video, thank you. Thank you very much. Go like every other video, okay? I sort of listened to another audiobook of it, but I'll listen to yours. Oh shit, had you actually? Well, sick. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I'm gonna edit it to be a full video as well, with all its, I don't know, it's gonna be like 7 hours or something. The whole thing. Whenever I'm done reading it all. Yeah, good night, everybody. Thanks for being fucking fantastic, you know? Thanks for existing. Thank you for 5 subscribers. It's a good day to have a good day. Don't worry about it, Baka. Anything to get the chat going, you know? If you want to, you can complain however much you want. Alright? It don't matter to me. As long as it doesn't spread too much, you know? Because complaining becomes a disease when you let it become too rampant. It's like rats in the sewer system, spreading like the plague. But once in a while it's alright. You know, a rat here and there, you can deal with it. Fun stream, indeed. Super quick. 2 hours just went by like this. Nuts. I guess that just goes to show how Frankenstein is both good and also chat is good. You are good. Don't forget. Alright. Goodbye now. Bye-bye now. Goodbye. Bye-bye. See you. Goodbye. Farewell. Good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye now. Bye.